Hello, I'm Derek John Johnson. Today's video I want to talk a little bit about the Kyle Rittenhouse trial and verdict. And how no, this was not self-defense, in my opinion, at least based on the information that I've seen at this point. Now I want to make one thing perfectly clear. Yes, none of these men Kyle Rittenhouse shot were these perfect angel saints who never did anything wrong. One of them, indeed, was a registered sex offender with at least, 5 or 6 victims. And that is wrong. That is terrible. But it's also true Kyle Rittenhouse didn't shoot them because of their criminal records. Here's the thing. The man who people love to talk about was a registered sex offender was not the one who was hitting Kyle Rittenhouse with a skateboard. In fact, from what I can tell, Anthony Huber only started hitting Kyle Rittenhouse with the skateboard after he had already shot Joseph Rosenbaum, who, yes, was a sex offender, but was also a unarmed man who was not at the time posing an actual legitimate threat to Kyle Rittenhouse. From what I can tell, the most he did was that he threw something at him. Well, yes, he was chasing him down. Kyle Rittenhouse had a gun and had literally come there to kill people. If you see a person with a gun pointing at you who is not afraid to use it, yeah, no shit, you're gonna chase them down or kick their ass. It's just fucking common sense. However, here's the thing. You're not allowed to kill people just because they've done shitty things in the past. That's literally not what the legal case was about at all. Was whether or not this was murder or self-defense. And my answer is honestly kind of neither. Look, yes, Kyle Rittenhouse did kill 3 people illegally. That much is true. And from a moral standpoint, yeah, this was pretty much a fucking murder. From a legal standpoint, however, it seems to be closer to manslaughter or homicide. But it's also true that Anthony Huber, being a serial domestic abuser, which, yes, were charges that he actually received, or the third guy who had basically had some minor run-ins with the cops before, or Joseph Rosenbaum being a sex offender, were not what was on trial. What was on trial was whether or not Kyle Rittenhouse had unlawfully killed these 3 people, or he had a legitimate reason to act in self-defense. And, he definitely unlawfully killed these 3 people, at least according to the police report from what I've read. Here's the thing. The people defending him who will be here whining in my comments about how Joseph Rosenbaum was evil and deserved it, they know that. They're just happy that somebody killed 3 people who they disagree with. Which is pretty fucking gross. Kyle Rittenhouse was not this perfect little saint. He was a fucking idiot who decided to take a loaded gun to a goddamn place he knew would be dangerous, where he'd be putting himself in risk. With a loaded gun, with the pretty much clear intent to murder protesters. He was not some innocent little kid who was acting in self-defense and got in trouble because of mean lefties. No. He made the conscious decision to put himself at risk. Then when he was at risk, he couldn't handle the situation he'd have put himself in. Here's the thing, his fucking mom deserves just as much backlash as him. She drove her underage son to a fucking dangerous place, knew probably knowing what he was planning and well approving of it. Yet we're supposed to see Kyle Rittenhouse as this perfect angel who never did anything wrong, was just defending himself from a violent, angry mob. You know why the mob was violent and angry? Because he was there with a gun threatening them, and and Anthony Huber only started hitting Kyle Rittenhouse with a skateboard after he had already shot someone, which, I think hitting somebody with a skateboard or you saw kill somebody in order to disarm them is actually a pretty reasonable thing to do. Like, everybody would fucking do that. Another thing I've seen is people like Peter Coffin claiming that, oh, if Kyle Rittenhouse was trans or black, people would be defending him. No. If he was a black person that was there in support of the Black Lives Matter protest, the same people cheering him on would be condemning him as a villain, even if the consequences surrounding this were all exactly the same, except for that minor detail. If he was a trans girl named Kylie, then guess what? People on the left would still be calling her out because people like Jessica and Eve and Chris Chan, who are trans but are also objectively horrible people, have been called out for being shitty people. Well, that's a video for today. Bye.